Hey For the Wild community, it's Ayana here. We are taking a pause this week from our regular episodes to share a special snippet from our first slow study with Bayo Akomolafe. This offering originates from Bayo's course, We Will Dance with Mountains, Into the Cracks, and is an edited curation of recorded lectures, prayers, musical accompaniments, and practice prompts offered by Bayo and co-conspirators. The preview you are about to hear is from Session 1 and includes a portion of Bayo's lecture, as well as the corresponding practice prompt by Jiordi Rosales. Each session within the course includes a practice prompt for deeper exploration. If you're interested in the full course, it can be purchased via For the Wild's website at forthewild.world. Hello everyone, I'm Ayana Young, the host and founder of For the Wild. We are so excited to be hosting Dr. Bayo Akomolafe's insightful course entitled We Will Dance with Mountains, with this year's focus on going into the cracks. Bayo has been a wonderful thought companion and guest on several podcast episodes, and we are grateful to have even more of his wisdom housed here. The course is structured around lectures, offerings, music, and practice. It brings new meanings and insights to this modern world, reminding us what matters and how to root into community in dark times of catastrophe. In this introductory piece, Bayo is joined by our beloved Joanna Macy, Jiordi Rosales, and Ilu Oba to bless the course and delve into new ways of being. Happy learning.
Good evening. My name is Bayo Akomolafe, and together with a teeming community of thinkers and fugitives and drapetomaniacs and children and parents and grandmothers and grandfathers and public intellectuals and dancers and cooks and painters and poets and creatives of a marvelous variety, I am your host for We Will Dance with Mountains, Into the Cracks, the fifth iteration of a series of courses and journeys and experiences that are calibrated to exploring the otherwise and what forms responsibility might take in these post-activist times. And I welcome you to this moment. Last year we had more than 1,000 people from across the world, from across the planet, join us in this expedition into the cracks. We had people from favelas, artists from favelas, thinkers from Africa, people from Asia, from Europe, the Americas. Join us on this expedition to the otherwise, via cracks, via notions of failure. Now, if you're here listening to this, you probably couldn't join us. But you know, the Igbo people have a proverb. The Igbo people are from eastern Nigeria. That a bird that flies off the ground and settles on an anthill is still on the ground. So in a very real sense, this study, this community, this expedition, this inquiry, this exploration of the otherwise, this exploration of potentially new worlds, hidden in glimpses of cracks, this unlearning of colonial mastery, this asking of the question of what it might mean to respond to our crisis-ridden civilization is still here with us. And if you're here, and if you're watching this, then I invite you to participate, to gather around your community, food and drink, and let's go into the cracks together. You will be in touch with lectures and song and sounds from the class that convened. You would be in touch with insights and questions and exercises that might help you develop your own practice of making sanctuary in these times. So wherever you are in the world, especially in these troubling times, I invite you to truly join us. The study continues. So I want to ask you guys, what do we mean by bodies fall sick? Is there something there we can play with? We're in the cracks now, okay? Is there something there that isn't quite true? Something that makes itself available for tinkering, for the trickster. For instance, what body are we talking about? In the Anthropocene, where the body can no longer be distinguished from ecological processes, what do we name as the body? What ideologies, performances, concepts, stories, narratives, agencies, agendas are present when we name a body a body? Is it a stone body? Is it a human body? If we say it's a human body, then we must ask, who is allowed into the space of the human? Who's human? What does human body mean? Who is allowed that great honor of being human? And then when we talk about sick, we must also invoke the politics of that. Now, what does sickness mean then? The stories that we're told is that, of course, bodies fall sick. It's a simple biological fact. The body goes wrong, cells atrophy. A virus, a bacterial community. I learned recently about the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Just the number of things that could go wrong with bodies, monumental. So, but what does sickness mean? What are we talking about? Is there something, to use the old terminology, silently ableist when we speak about sickness? Is there something Huitlacoche politics about this? And I continue to speak about Huitlacoche politics because Huitlacoche, right, is the delicacy from Mexico. And it's about looking at a pathogen, not as a sickness, but as a delicacy, something to eat, right? So there's something also cultural and political about the ways that we name bodies and sickness. Let me get to a point. I was speaking with a dear sister of mine prior to the release of her book. Her name is Dr. Rupa Maya, and she wrote the book Inflamed. But we had some conversations prior to that, and we talked about lots of things, colonization. The premise of that beautiful book, which I would invite you to check out, is the idea that bodies don't just fall sick, right? And the data might help us see why that is the case. If you go to a hospital, the data tells us that the bodies that are in the hospital are disproportionately minoritarian. Black bodies, brown bodies. The bodies that seem to be well off are white identified bodies. And so Rupa Maya asks the question, could it be that, and Raj Patel, the co-author of the book Inflamed, could it be that it's not that we fall sick, but that sickness is manufactured, right? That there's something colonial about certain arrangements that inflames bodies. So that it's not just a matter of falling sick. It's that some bodies are arranged in such a way that they're more likely to be ill. And in that case, it is already allocated. Oh, someone just put that. Sickness is allocated here, right? So it's colonial, it's theological, it's political, it's economical, it's arranged, right? And I don't mean to refer to conspiratorial notions that there is some intention, some giant intention around this. But I'm trying to say that sickness is not just a mere fact of nature, as if nature were a background to human activity. That sickness doesn't just happen, sickness is arranged.
Hello again. This is your janitor speaking, Jiordi Rosales, giving thanks for your retroactive participation in this journey. I know it's a different thing to join in on a course after the fact, as you've done by downloading this series. But I would invite you to consider that the temporalities being summoned by this learning space are far from linear, are far from stationary, that there are understandings that are only possible in the continued afterlife of something. Almost a year now since we began this iteration of We Will Dance with Mountains. This is far from a podcast, but in the spirit of Spellcast, I would ask you to pause here at the close of our opening and gauge your consent to participate in this space, to what degree you're willing to attend this collective inquiry. And just as I asked the original group of 1,000 or so to process into the earth at the sound of Ilu Oba, to meet in the cave, I extend that same invitation to you now. I'll give you a spoiler of the sessions ahead and say that we never came up out of the cave. This is not a hero's journey. We are still down there at large, practicing what we've learned, dancing, asking questions, and playing tricks. And you, our welcome guest, are invited to come and meet us and practice with us, to make worlds with us, or greater yet, to make home with us. That is our paradox vocation, to make home at the end of the world, in between worlds. The foot washing is a way down, so if you didn't catch that from the recording, feel free to wash your feet at your own timing in order to descend as water down into the earth, to prepare your body to marry the soil and meet us in the classroom. It's not the only way down. You might know of other doors, but the water is one way. At the end of each session, I'll offer a few practice prompts or questions as a way to reposition the lectures into your own life. Some questions will be sniffed out from Bayo's talks. Some might be elaborations on what was spoken. Some might be complete detours altogether. They're all optional, obviously, and given in the spirit of practice and integration. You can also find these questions in text on the webpage alongside each episode. I would suggest that at the close of each session that you take some time to journal or whatever form of reflection is natural to the way you learn before transitioning into the next part of your day. Some of these sessions may stir things. There's no shortage of provocation, so I encourage you to take spiritual care of yourself while traveling with us. To ask for care when you need it, to be bold, reach out to a friend, talk about what you're uncovering. Thank you for being here. Some questions for reflection from this opening session are as follows. What does it mean to be well in sick times? What does it mean to be whole in times of great suffering, in times of great dying and migration? What does it mean to make home when the ecology that makes your body possible is wilting? What if the ways we speak about trauma blinds us to possibility and flight and transformation? What if the ways we frame health and perform justice are tethered to something that wants to give way. What is that giving way to? Welcome.